Hello everybody, welcome. I see there's quite a few of you already, so that's good. Welcome to our new Music Talk Live. We're on number 37, so that's easy to say, but it's been 37 weeks already without counting all the little things we did during the pandemic. That opening piece is so baroque. Yeah, I just came out jamming on that amp and this guitar actually, and so I thought it was cool and I recorded it, but then it changes, so I don't know if you know the song, but then it goes somewhere else. Hello, that is Art. Hello, John. Kike, what's up? And Akbil, what's up, Akbil? Any more of you in there, just let me know. Please do join the chat room. And so anyway, welcome to our weekly stream. As you know, every Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Central European Time, we go live for this series of videos, which usually is about me teaching you stuff, or sometimes we talk about things that have to do with music and learning music, like today. Sometimes we talk about production, technique, scales, a lot of scales lately. We have a couple of modes to go, and then we do chords. Actually, chords have been moved to Tuesdays. Tuesday at 5 p.m. Central European Time, there's a video on chords. It's called One Chord a Week. And let me just plug it for a second. I think it's a really useful series. So I suggest you go back, watch it, and then every week you can watch it. In the next half a year maybe, you'll get very far with your chords. So, all right, so there's more and more people coming in. Do join the chat room, please. Let me know where you're from if you feel like it. I know there's privacy things, but we're all, I think, pretty comfortable here with each other, but I do enjoy hearing where you're from. Although if you're one of the usuals here, then you don't need to do that. And so what have you guys been up to this week? Have you been playing guitar, studying, composing, writing, playing live? I don't think so, but maybe somewhere in the world. There's people here from Australia sometimes, and they probably can go out and play live. So anyway, next week I might have to do a pre-recorded premiere again, just because of that thing that's gonna happen probably soon. We just don't know yet exactly when and if, but in the meantime I have to prepare for it. So as a matter of fact, I've been recording a lot of those one chord a week videos just to make sure, because I really don't want to abandon it. And so I have scheduled, I don't know how many, I think we're going well into April now with scheduled chords, but I keep recording them so that if anything changes and I have to, I don't want to have time for just a little while to produce videos, then they'll be there. All right. So I've been recording that. And of course, I've been busy with the thing that I was going to show you today. And most people will say, I'll show you at the end of the video, but I won't. I'll show it to you right now. And it's a little thing that I've been working on. As you know, I have 2 books out, and a lot of you here already have them on alternate picking and legato. Hello, Levent. Wow, from Turkey. Oh, I had so many friends from Turkey when I was living in Sacramento, in Stockton actually, Stockton, California. I had a lot of friends from Turkey. So it's good to see you. Good to see you. You don't have to tell us the city if you don't want to, but I do know quite a bit about Turkey. Love the people, great people. And my friends Suleiman and Ismail, they were great guys. I'm still in touch with some of them actually. So, all right, welcome, Levent. And so I'm going to give you this thing that I was going to show you today. And it's a little free gift, and it's my little thank you, of course, for those of you who keep supporting the channel. But not only the channel, it's not about supporting me. It's more about those of you who decided one day that they were going to be guitar players. And so sometimes it's hard, and sometimes it's difficult just because you don't know where to start, and I certainly was there for a long time. And sometimes it's hard because maybe you, depending where you live or your situation, you can't afford a good teacher maybe, which is what we're going to talk about today, how to find a good teacher, which I think is worth its weight in gold, a good teacher. But this is my little contribution, and it's a very small thing, and I'm going to show it to you right now. All right, here it is. It's called 21 Licks. And it says riffs and musical ideas to improve your technique, soloing, and composition. And as you can tell, this little book is made up of 21 excerpts from some of my songs. Now, if you hate my songs, that's cool too, because you can still work on them. There's a lot of things going on in these little licks. There's a lot of, sometimes it's picking, and sometimes it's legato, and sometimes it's just fingerstyle intros. There's crazy stuff like the song you just heard in the intro, Eye of the Storm. The intro is here. You can actually figure it out and play it. And even if you hate it, which I hope you don't hate it, but even if you're not a big fan of my stuff, I think it's still useful. And it's just my little contribution and a little thank you for just doing this stuff that we do that is pretty hard sometimes. Okay, and you might think, where is it? You know, you've been hiding it somewhere. No, it's already available. If you look in the description of the video that you're watching right now, you should be able to see it. Is the link for it working? Well, it certainly should be. Kike, check out the link at the bottom of in the description under the alternate picking and legato books. And I posted it just a little while ago. Without telling you anything, I'll be sneaky like that, and so you should be able to download it right now. If you don't see it, you might have to refresh your browser because maybe you logged on into this video before I updated the description. So let me know if you can find it. All right, cool. So, all right, so I hope you enjoy it, and I hope that it works for you. And of course, I'm here to help. If you want, anytime we do one of these live streams, just ask me questions. And I don't know if I'll be able to play that stuff, but I'll try. You know, and show you how I play it. And in the book, there's not a lot of descriptive material, so I won't tell you exactly. You know, the pick is down here and up there because it's really about you finding your own interpretation and voice of it. But if you do want to figure it out exactly like I played, if you want to do exactly what I did, then between the record and the tab and score, you'll be able to do exactly 100% what I played on the record. All right, so it works both ways. You can use it just as inspiration, or you can use it to actually figure it out as an exercise, or just because you enjoy the music. All right, so there it is. It's there, and it says something went wrong when you are downloading it. Okay, I'm gonna check it out right now. Since this is a bit of an informal chat anyway, I did test it right before this started, but let me check. All right, let me see. I do apologize if that's the case. No, it's working. It's working for me. I'm seeing it right now. All right, so hopefully it will work. If not, this is just for you guys. This will be announced. Well, try it again. Maybe I don't know. Maybe something with Bitly. It should work. If it doesn't work, as soon as this is done, I'm going to post the whole link without the Bitly. I'll post it in the comments, and then next week there will be a video presenting it. So this is just a little thing just for you guys who are here when we do live sessions. All right. So if it's not working, I will try to post it here in the chat room. But this, I don't know if it will work as a link. So as soon as we're done, I'll post it in the comments. Okay, but there's going to be many ways to find it. As soon as it's out there, it's not protected. None of my books are protected, even the ones that are for sale. So, but I do believe people will respect it. But this will be out there. You know, I don't think you'll have any problems. You're free to share it with anyone you want. All right. So this is my little present for you. It's a small gift. It's not a big thing, but it took me so long. I can't swear on YouTube. It took me so long to do it and to make it and write it, because all the tabs, I never write tabs. And then I had all the descriptions, and then everything got out of sync between my iPad and my Mac, and then I had to rewrite everything. It was a pain in the butt, but I hope you will enjoy it. All right. So that's it. Nothing else new this week. There is art. I was just about to plug in the Rockmans, but I just had no time. You know, I finished the little cover thing just 10 minutes before we went live. So I do apologize. I'll try to do it next time. Next week is going to be a premiere, and I will try to be here with you, and I'll do the Locrian mode. All right, because we did so many modes together already that I think you are ready to just watch a video on it. But it'll still be a premiere. You can join the chat room and all that. All right, so we're going to talk today about what makes a great teacher. All right, and now, this is a bit of a complex thing, and as a matter of fact, I would like to ask you to comment. If you're from the future, use the comments. But if you're here in the chat room, maybe you can start writing your experiences with students. I know a few of you who are my students in here, and you have some horror stories. All right, and so I will suggest that you type down what it is that you had experience with teachers. The result says, for some reason, none of the 3 links are working. Okay, so it must be something with Bitly. All right, I'm sure it'll back up. Levant, got it, copy the link, then it worked. Clicking directly at some characters. All right, yeah, you're welcome. I'll try to figure it out later. All right, so let's begin. First of all, let's talk about, so I wait for your experiences in the chat room with teachers. Before we begin, I might say that I never had a guitar teacher. I had many teachers, so to speak, because watching concerts, and I started playing very, very early. I started at 14, and at 15, I was already playing concerts and actually being paid for it. So I think that qualifies it as a professional musician. So I got thrown right into the pool at the very beginning, and so I didn't even consider basically having a teacher. Besides my family, there was no music really. Nobody knew anything about music. A cousin of mine, but he lived in another city, so it just didn't come up. It didn't come up. The lesson thing didn't come up, and so. To me, it was just a matter of swimming or sinking. So, I got thrown into the pool and I just played, and I developed my own way of dealing with things. But that created a lot of gaps. So I was playing professionally. I was actually in my home city of Milan. Everybody kind of knew us, the band, and they knew who I was because everybody thought that I played well. And but I knew it. I knew deep down. Actually, not even deep down. I knew it on a superficial level. I already knew 100% that I wasn't as good as I was led to believe that I was. And it wasn't just being modest, it's just that it was true. I had so many lacking bits of information. But I soon realized, talking to people who did have all the information, I soon realized that a lot of people who had all the information just didn't really know how to use it. And so they got lost in the details and the nerdy stuff while I was up there playing guitar and winning all the things like best guitarist of the this or that. And they were just there talking about how they knew all the inversions and all that stuff, right? So very soon I figured out that I could have it both ways. I could have, I could keep that instinct and that spirit or passion, but at the same time I should improve certain things. And the thing that really hit home was when I started writing on my own, because my first band, the band that I was in Milan, we used to write all together, and mainly the singer and the bass player wrote, and then I would just add stuff, and of course all the solos, but also some other things. But it wasn't all on my shoulders. But then as I moved on then I moved to America, and then I said, okay, I'm going to write songs and write instrumental music or any kinds of music, and I really didn't know where to start. And it was years of frustration. But I was so used to not having a teacher that I continued by myself. And so slowly I found my way, but I went, 3 miles that way, then 2 miles that way, then back, and then go backwards, and then eventually I got there. And I still think that's a good way of doing it. It's a good way of doing it, but I played for 13 hours a day or 12 hours a day. I would sleep with a guitar, and I would get up and play guitar. I would go to, when I was in college or before that, I would just go to school, and at school I would just do this on the desk to keep my fingers moving. I would play on plastic bottles. I would play on my forearm. I would just talk about guitar all day, and then I would go whatever, and then I would go home and play. My mom would call me, time to eat dinner. I had dinner, and then I went back down and played again. And so most people can't do that, right? Most people have a problem of time. And so when that's the case, then you do have to worry about what you're going to do with the time you have. And so a good teacher will be able to point you in all the right directions. And now we're talking about good teachers, because I've seen so many things. And you guys know that I started teaching when I was 15 or 16, charged $5 an hour, which is about 2 euros, maybe 3, well then, so now it's probably 3 euros, let's say. And so, I didn't have a lot of responsibility. When you charge $5 an hour, you pretty much can get away with anything. But, I started very soon. And then as I progressed teaching, I saw so many horror things with students that came from other places, much worse sometimes than people who came from nothing, like started from, I was playing at home and now I like to have lessons. That was easy. The problem is when you had somebody playing for 8 years with a diploma, a diploma that of upper studies in guitar, and he can't jam on a C major chord progression, right? That's a problem. That is a problem. What do you need all that information for if you can't use it? All right, so we're going to talk about teachers, and I'm going to help you out, hopefully find a good one, or just even if you don't have a teacher or you don't want a teacher, you can just maybe figure out what is that a good teacher does and kind of do it to yourself, right? Apply it to yourself. That's kind of what I did when I decided that I was going to do it by myself. That being said, if you don't have 13 hours a day, a good teacher can save you a lot of time. Might spend a lot of money, spend a bit of money for that, but it will save you a lot of time, like a lifetime. Because I calculated that I played, I don't know how many, I did it once, the calculation, like, they said you need 10,000 hours to be good. I don't know, I probably played 100,000, well, not that much, but maybe 50,000. But of course, I'm not half as good as I should be, having played 10,000, But I wasted a lot of time, I went in circles. So I'm going to save you a lot of time right now with this. But before we begin, we should talk about the distinction between not just good and bad teachers, but between students, and not good and bad students, though that's a thing, but about two types of students. All right, there's two types of students that I focused on. I had hundreds of students through the years. Okay, that's what my experience come from. I actually have a music school, and the two types of students are this. You have one kind of student who needs or is seeking motivation. Okay, so think of a kid that his parents or her parents want her to have music lessons. Right, so you're gonna have this kid who is looking at you, or somebody is, their parents, to motivate them. Okay, they're looking at you to push them towards where they want to go. All right, so that's a totally different student than the second type. Those who have decided that they're going to be musicians, maybe professionally, maybe not, but even if not, very serious about the music, and they don't need to be motivated. The motivation comes from within, and they just look at you for guidance and direction. So I'm much better with the second kind. If you don't want to do something, I don't want to waste any time convincing you. Think about it, and when you're convinced, you call me, and then I'll help you out, right? But those kind of students are very important, because it's not to dismiss them, because when you have a child who doesn't know if he wants to play or not, and then you can foster that interest and kind of light the fire underneath him, then then he will become the second type of student. So, or maybe an adult who says, well, they just bought me a guitar for Christmas and I want to try it. So you still have a responsibility, but we're going to talk about the second type, not because it's better, but it's because I think anybody who's here on a Saturday watching this and watching me babble, it must be somebody who has decided that they want to be musicians, all right, or that they want to improve their level. All right, so we're going to talk about the second type of student. And the first thing I think you should look in a teacher or in yourself is he has to know what he's doing. So a good teacher has to know what he's doing at a level that is way, 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 way beyond your own. So if I go find a teacher and that's the other thing, I never had a music teacher, but I had a lot of teachers in other disciplines. And that teacher has to be someone who you can look up to. He has to have a level that is so much higher than yours, because eventually there will become a day when you'll go like, man, this is not for me. This is too hard. This is not something that I was expecting. I thought it was easy. I thought it was fun, and this is kicking my butt. And so you need to have somebody at that time that you can look up to and go like, well, I'll keep doing it because this guy hasn't given up. He's teaching me, and he knows something that I don't know, and so I will just trust it. And I will trust him or her to tell me that I have to keep going, even if I feel that I'm not going anywhere. So to achieve the level of confidence that you can give a student, you really have to be so far above where they are. So if you're here, you shouldn't probably teach somebody who's there. And that's what I did when I started out. I was 15 years old. I was probably 3 months ahead of my students, but I was charging $5 an hour. So if you find somebody who's charging $5 an hour, then all right, go ahead and do that. But otherwise, this teacher has to be light years beyond you, all right? If that's what you're looking for, if you're looking for somebody for guidance, then they should have walked that walk many, many, many thousands of times, all right? And they will give you a whole different perspective. The other thing is that I see a lot of it is lacking is that they have to have real life experiences in the discipline they're teaching you, okay? And that's one thing that I've seen a lot with students who come from somewhere else. I have students who say, well, my teacher taught me stuff, but he wasn't really, I say, well, okay, who is he? Do I know him or her? Can we go see her play? And they never played live. They never recorded anything. So there's nothing wrong with it on a level, but on the other level, unless you want to be just a guy who knows stuff, because if your teacher only knows stuff, never has to use it, but he knows stuff, and you want to be that kind of player, then you're good. You're good. But if you want to take all that information and take it to the next, not higher, but to another level, which is playing, performing, which for me is like the thing, right? It doesn't have to be for you, but for me it is. So if I go to somebody who's teaching me stuff, but he never really has used it, well, what kind of guidance can you give me beyond just knowing stuff, right? Because nowadays especially, you can know stuff from pretty much anywhere. You can watch my videos on chords, you'll know chords. Now you'll know a little more than chords because I try to show you, but you'll never know about chords what I, of course, talking to you one-on-one could give you, right? But if you go to a teacher and the teacher only knows how to transmit, like somebody taught him this, he kind of put it in his basement, then he brings it out of the basement, gives it to you, and then you give it to somebody else. It's all on the same level, right? So if you want to take it to another level, you need to find a teacher who has experience. For example, I would never teach. I play piano. I play piano more than a lot of teachers. I play piano 2 or 3 hours a day. I know a lot of teachers who are bored and they play half an hour or not even, because their students don't have that level, and so they're like, well, I can get by just playing half an hour a day. I wouldn't dare give piano lessons or drums lesson, or even guitar. I can manage classical guitar pretty good, flamenco, but I would never teach it. If somebody comes and they want to the school and they want flamenco lessons, I try to refer them somewhere. Right? Some people say, no, I really want to come here. It's close to my home, and I'm just a guy. I'm not looking for anything. I just want to have a good time and maybe show you some chords. Then I'll take them on. But otherwise, we have a strict policy that if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. Don't do it. There's plenty of people who want to learn what you can do. So don't let anybody teach you stuff that they don't know, right? And it happens so many times on so many disciplines, not just music, Let me show you martial arts. Have you ever had a fight? Have you ever had a tournament? Have you ever had, no, but it's fine because if this happens, I will do, and it's not true. You need somebody who has a perspective from real life use, all right? So I'm sorry, I'm babbling on. I'm going to read your comments before we move on. Okay, so you did download? Great. Let me know what you think. My flute teacher used to make me play the Beatles, and I hate the Beatles, but she told me, I'm teaching you melodic lines, so just play it. Well, that's not bad, John, though. If your teacher shows you the Beatles, that's pretty good. I'm kind of a mix between the two. I'm serious enough to play every day, but not really long enough each day to get that good. These lessons are amazing for what I need. All right, thanks, that is Art. That's good to hear. I am actually surprised by how many people reach out to me saying that these things that we do on Tuesdays and on Saturdays, they actually change the way they play and the way I approach music. So that's awesome. All right. But let's see. I did write just the titles of the things I want to talk about. Okay, so that's one thing. And then the other thing that this is a bit more advanced, but I'm going to go over it right now. There's a difference between the data and the art. So that's what I was saying before. If your teacher knows data and he transmits the data over to you, he does a little airdrop of data, then you'll know the data. And that comes to experience, right? If you need to have experience enough to separate the data from the art. So if I know scales, that's data. And everybody can know scales. That's the thing. If I know technique, I can teach you technique. That's data. And everybody can learn technique. Everybody can. Technique, scales, chords, to me, that's kind of like money, right? You put in more work and you get a bit more money. And then some people can work an hour and make twice as much as you, and you have to maybe work 2 hours to make as much as they make. But in the end, you can all get enough money to get by. And that's the same with technique, chords, theory, all this stuff. A good teacher will certainly help you with it. But these things, we can all get there. Now, the art part, that's the hardest one. The art part is, okay, so how do you transcend that? You need to transcend the data, especially nowadays when data is available everywhere. You can go online and look for any modes. You don't have to watch my videos. You can go anywhere and watch, I want that mode, and you can get the mode. So the teacher needs to be able to bring you to the other side. And that's really hard to teach. It's really hard to teach when you have a scale. That's easy. Let me show you the major scale, bam, 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 right? Let me show you what to do with the major scale. Wrong, right? Let me show you what you can do with the major scale. What you can do where? And how, your ear, what is it? If you don't have experience with all those facets, it's so hard for the student to go beyond you. And that's another thing. Your students should go beyond you. There are no secrets. There are no things that you go like, well, one day you'll be ready. Of course, one day they'll be ready, but you never keep anything back from your students, ever, ever. As a matter of fact, your goal is to make your students better than you are. And it's inevitable that at one point in your life, somebody will come by and that you say, okay, this one is the one. This is the one that will be a better player than I am. And that's what you have to do. You have to look for that in every student. Every student should get the 100% of what you know. And that's another thing that I see in certain kinds of music. Students that come in and they're like, well, my teacher used to know all this and that and that. But he said, well, this is a secret chord, or this is a secret progression. That's bullshit. I'll tell you right now, a good teacher will never keep anything back. Anything. The only things that he will keep back is if he thinks you're not ready for it. But he's not keeping it back. He's saving it for later, right? So that's another thing. And the other thing is that a good teacher should save you time, okay? That's one of the main goals of a teacher. A good teacher should, if you go to a lessons and you try 1 month, and after that month you don't feel that you're saving time, that you have access to things that you wouldn't have access otherwise. If all you get is stuff that you can find online or in a book, then your teacher is kind of superfluous, right? If your teacher says, okay, look, you're here at the ground level, so all you see is, you see the people, and then you see these big things, and they're big walls. You don't know what they are because you can only look that way, right? But I'm up here. I know that these are tall buildings. I know there's people down there. There's trees. There's the sky. There's everything. I can see everything. I can see the whole city from where I'm at. So let me bring you up here, and then you can see what I'm seeing. And that's what a good teacher does. He lifts you up from wherever you are, and he shares that vantage point that he has with you. And that's a complicated thing to do, and that's what makes the difference between just collecting information from the internet or having a competent teacher that will help you. All right, so that's another thing. And maybe I'm going too fast, am I? I'm just get a bit passionate about this stuff because I've seen so many students have a hard time. Let's see. Yes, there's one other thing, which is that as a good teacher doesn't worry about you liking and enjoying every lesson. All right, a good teacher isn't there to make you happy every Tuesday at 5 or whatever. A good teacher is there so that 6 months from now, you look back and you're like, man, I can't believe how good I've become in 6 months. Well, let me just have a sip of tea. All right, excuse me. So that's what a good teacher will do. If I have a student and they're serious and I teach them the major scale and I say, okay, you need to know it by next week. If next week you don't know it, you're going to do it again. It's not a punishment, it's not like you didn't do what I said. It's because you need that. And if you don't have it, I'm going to teach it to you again. And we're going to go over it again and again. And you're going to hate me the third week I'm going to do that. But after that, you'll have it, and when you have it, we can move on to better things. If I'm a student, a teacher, and that's concern for the student. If I'm a teacher who's concerned about not losing a student, then I can't eat or I can't make money, then I will try to every week make you happy as a student. I want you to come back. I want you to come back. And that works for the first 6 months or however long. But then eventually you're going to look back, or your student is going to look back and go like, you know what? I've been going to the gym every week for 1 year, and I'm still in as bad a shape as I was when I started. You wouldn't go back to that gym. It's the same thing with music. All right, so you're looking for somebody who says, you know what, you're gonna do 50 push-ups and 50 pull-ups and crunches, and you're gonna do it. You're gonna hate me for it. You're gonna do it every day. Every time you come in, I'm gonna make you do those things. But I want to go run. You can't run until you're, whatever, and you're gonna eat nothing, and you're not gonna make them happy at that moment, but that's how they achieve their goal. All right, so that's what you want if you look for a teacher. The teacher is not there to make you happy. He's there to make you happy, all right, but later he's there to serve you, not to make you feel good. All right, and I don't know. Well, another thing is again, a good teacher will know that the responsibility comes from the student. Okay, so a good teacher knows that his role is limited. He can't take on the life of a student, his obligations, his motivation. You can't take that on. What you take on with a student is just you're like guiding the student, but that's it. And you understand that no matter how good you think you are as a guitar player or as a musician or as a teacher, it's really up to the student. So basically, it's kind of weird because if the students do well, then it's the students that have done well, not you. You just pointed the way and that's it. If the students don't do well and they're motivated, then it is your fault, right? So if a student, there's bad students, of course, the students who don't do anything, so you know, okay, whatever. But if a student is motivated and is studying and is doing things, but they're not getting where they want to go, then it is your responsibility and your fault, not theirs, right? So the good teacher always focuses on the responsibility of the student and the responsibility that the student implies for them. All right, and it's a very important thing. So basically, if a student does well, it's because of the student, and if a student does badly, it's because of you. And if you keep those two things in mind, it's not fair, but it is the way it is, then you'll improve greatly as a teacher, and you'll also improve greatly, your students will improve greatly. And so that's another thing that I found very early on, and also talking to other people who are incredible teachers in other disciplines too, or sometimes even in music. I remember having a conversation, well, I won't drop names, but with a very well-known singer who discussed how he learned to play classical instruments before he became a good singer. And, his teachers were like 100% motivating, but 100% putting the responsibility on his shoulders and not taking it away from them. All right, so that's another thing. Let's see. Okay, no, actually, you know what? In the meantime, please, I'm going to read some of your comments. Please keep them coming. I'm not ignoring you, but please let me know anything that I said that doesn't make sense to you or that you agree with. If you want to, let me know, so I don't feel like I'm kind of talking to myself here. Jenny says that at first you were way over my head. Okay, you mean me, these videos, right? I had some music theory in college, and that was years ago. Now I'm using what you're putting out, and it's coming together. You're a great teacher. Well, thank you. That's great to hear. I was never a metal fan, but because of you, I discovered a whole genre. John, all right. I don't know if, well, I do enjoy metal, of course. I don't know what I'm playing, though. What would you call what I play? I always say I'm a rock guitar player. So it keeps it simpler, because if I say I'm metal, then that's not heavy enough. And if I say I'm like just a guitarist, they go like, that's too heavy. That's strange. That chord doesn't fit. Speaking of looking back, I found videos of you from 10 years ago. You have evolved exponentially. All right, cool, Jenny. I don't know what nothing compromising, is it? I hope not. But yeah, you know what? Some of those old videos are still the ones that most people watch, strangely enough. I'm an awful student because I only practice 20 minutes a day. It's at the 20-minute mark when I feel I have gained a lot of pick control. Very bad to stop at 20 minutes. Well, that's fine. We're not talking about being aspiring to become the best guitar player in the world. What we're talking about is if you go 1 hour a week to a teacher, it doesn't matter how much time you spend. You still want to get a teacher who can serve you, right? Now, I'm talking a bit at another level here, like assuming you have a student who's dedicated 100%. But, it doesn't have to be 10 hours a day. Maybe someday, if I can get better, I practice at least an hour a day. All right, that is art. You kind of have it backwards, I'm afraid to say. It's not like if one day you get better, you should practice more. You should practice more so one day you'll get better. All right, so don't get it backwards. That's a bit of a dangerous thing. Let's see. I'm almost done, really. Okay, I gotcha. I gotcha. Let's see. Okay, one other thing about students that maybe gets tied in with this that Isart was saying is that a good teacher will also know a good teacher is fair. If a good teacher is fair because he knows what to ask for. So, for example, if Isart is one of my online students, not in person because he's in Canada, but if he's one of my online students, I will ask him first thing, how long do you play every week or every day? And then he will tell me 20 minutes a day. And I will say, okay, well, here's two options. One option is you keep playing 20 minutes a day, and I will give you this. The other option is I'm going to give you a lot more than that, but I need you to play 45 minutes or 1 hour a day. You see, that's what would happen. So a teacher is fair in the sense that will allow for a student, especially adult students who have responsibilities, he will allow for that range of options, and then it will kind of offer the possibilities. And then, but it would be fair if he agrees to teach you and you're playing 20 minutes a day, he won't ask you to do things that he thinks will take an hour a day. And a bad teacher, and there's so many teachers who have no idea how long their students play. They don't recognize. So after 1 month with a student, you have to know, okay, this guy has played today. This week he has played quite a bit less than usual. Doesn't matter what he says. You know that he's, you know the type of student, and you know what they can achieve with the time they spend practicing, and then you can tailor every week. You can tailor it to them. All right. So what else? Oh yes, that's another thing. Okay, that's the last one actually. That a good teacher is always evolving. A good teacher is always unhappy with where he's at. He's always unhappy with even with how he's teaching. He's really not happy with anything. He's like, okay, I'm teaching this, but do I know this right? Am I showing it right? Am I teaching it right? Am I getting 100% out of this student? She's practicing half hour a day, and I know what she can get with a half hour a day, but she's not getting it. So, and the other thing is it keeps improving. So maybe I know a lot of chords. I love chords, but there's always some. So once a week, maybe I'll stop and say, okay, what new chord can you learn today? How can you? Because a good teacher is somebody who dedicates his or her life to one thing, right? With other things, of course, but the main thing is music, and music should be 100% part of their life. All right, so that's one thing. If you see your teacher never studying, never working on things, never really commenting, oh, last night I was up till 3 a.m. and nothing came out, but I think if you never hear that, then it's probably they just become complacent. And so they might be good, but they become complacent, so they're stagnant. And slowly you start seeing a decrease in quality. And so besides, that's also contagious, right? So maybe your teacher doesn't do anything and he's still a good teacher, but it's not the right environment for you, right? If you're trying to stay motivated and this guy's doing nothing, he's like, I'm already really good. I'm already more than good enough for you. So, I don't need to practice or learn new things. I'm way ahead of you. So you don't want that. You don't want to be complacent ever. And so you don't want your teacher to be. You want your teacher to be an example, all right? And so this is what I would say. And he should promote your individuality. He should say, okay, here's the things I'm going to show you, and now go do your stuff. Go do things. And let's see. My teacher said, okay, you need to be ready in 2 weeks for recital. Talk about motivation. She knew I was ready though. Oh, that's great. Yeah, sometimes pressure is a good thing. Levent says, I'm getting lessons online 1 hour a week since the beginning of this year, but so many things need to be digested. I said to get some lesson, but it scared me more. All right, Levent. Well, it's a good thing. So, now what I would hate to do is for all you guys who are watching this now and later to then go to your teacher and go like, okay, let me see what he says, and scrutinizing your teacher and giving him notes. So, but certainly you should check all these things out discreetly, right? And don't mention me. Don't say this guy on YouTube says that you're doing this wrong, all right? So don't put me, don't throw me in there. There's always something to learn. Doesn't matter how easy something seems. That's correct. Yes. Have you done a lesson on triads? No, but I've been thinking about it. We're gonna keep doing this for a long time if it makes sense. Eventually I'll have to kind of figure out if these things make sense for me, because it's a lot of time, and I'm patient. But I think this format I think is gonna be around for a long time. But it means a lot of things being here every Saturday. But certainly, yes, Jenny, we'll do one. I have plans on doing one, and yeah, I'll make one on triads eventually. Next week is going to be Locrian, even though it's going to be pre-recorded. I'll try to record it this week, all right? And yeah, all right, cool. So I'm done, all right? I'm so sorry that I talked for so long, but maybe this will kind of help you out. But you know what I think we should do? We should have a video on what makes a good student, because that's also important, because there's nothing a good teacher will do until the student is ready. As a matter of fact, there's an ancient Chinese proverb that says that the teacher will appear when the student is ready, correct? And that is so true. That is very true. And so maybe we'll talk about what makes a good student, yeah, next time? Because now we're kind of gossiping about teachers, and then maybe we go back to our lessons and go like, you're doing it wrong. But then next time we put the focus on us as students, and it will be enlightening, I think. So maybe one of these weeks we'll do a video on what makes a good student. Yeah. By the way, I just saw today, as I was about to start the stream, I saw the picture that I put on the stream, like great teacher and my face on it, and I hadn't realized it because I'm used to putting my face on it with the guitar and the chord. That's what I've been doing most of the things on. And so just today, I did it in a hurry a little bit because I was doing the book. I wanted to get it done by today. And then today I went on YouTube and I saw my face there with great teacher And I said, oh my God, so it's not about me, the cover is not about me. I was just putting my smiley. People say I have a serious face on the covers, on the thumbnail, so I put my smiley face there. And I think it kind of looks like I'm saying, hey, I'm a great teacher. So it's not meant that way. It's meant like, let's talk about what makes a great teacher, all right? So it is a bit different. All right, so I'm pretty much done, I think. If you guys have any questions, go ahead, please. And if you're new, let me just do this because I haven't done it today and I kind of feel like I have to because I've been told that it's very important. But I do still feel a bit strange about it, but here it is. Please, if you haven't done so, do all this kind of stuff because it is true that I notice it when I see a lot of new subscribers, and it really motivates me because I'm trying to resurrect a channel that was very active, and I think it's a bit harder than even starting from scratch. So thank you if you do that. That would be very much appreciated. My Saturday mornings are the best. Coffee and guitar with Andre. All right, cool, Jenny. Love your content. All right. Oh, that is art. You did say that. Yeah, no, it wasn't about me, but thanks. I appreciate it, but it wasn't meant to be like, look at me. No. By the way, if since we talked about the books, I save it for later because I didn't want to spoil the free book with this. But if you don't know about it, I do have 2 really good books on alternate picking. And so these are 70 exercises. They're starting from scratch, from nothing, open strings, all the way to some crazy stuff. And this should get you going with everything you need for alternate picking. And then the second most important technique, I think, for guitar is legato. And this is even bigger book, same price, about 10. It's 10 euros, nothing, no extra fees or anything. And it includes audio files, tabs. If you want to get deep with a technique, you should probably check them out. There's an older video where I give out a few free samples you can watch, or otherwise they're 10 euros and it's as cheap as they can be. There's a lot of work behind them, and I think they can be very useful, of course, with your technique. So if you want to expand on the 21 licks, this would be the thing. All right, so there you go, plugged it. Also, oh, by the way, in the book, you'll be able to hear all the songs. There's links to stream all the songs in the book, and you don't have to buy the records. All right, you can just when you get the book, because I didn't want this to become like, okay, here's a free book but buy the records. You can just go anywhere. There's links to Spotify and iTunes, which pay pennies. So if everybody with this free book listens to all the songs, I will make like $0.50. All right, so it's not for that, but even then you can just stream it. There's a link, it opens up all the links, and there's one at the bottom, YouTube. You can just click on it and listen to them. All right, so you don't have to get the CDs or anything. If you want, though, there's a link down here. And so thanks for the gift. Oh, you're very welcome. I think most think you are a great teacher. Well, thanks, that is art. I hope these lessons are super. Yes, thank you, Kike. All right, great, guys. So if you have any questions, I'm here. I have cold hands, though, so don't ask me to play things. Well, you can ask me to play anything. I'll screw it up. I don't mind. And because I'm a great teacher, you see great teachers screw up when they play. That's part of the thing. And no, anyway. So what else? I don't know. I think that's it. I think this is it. I'm going to check. Could you before we go, could you check again the link? Could some of you open the link again and see if it works now? Otherwise, I have to go back and post a new one. I'll just wait the 20 seconds delay here, if you don't mind. If anybody could be so kind as to try again with the link, see if it opens up. I'll wait. And what else? That's it. I'm just going to sit here and wait. You need to copy paste the link. That is so strange. All right. Okay, I'll see what I can do. If you want to send it to people, feel free. It's a 100% free book, so feel free to send it to your friends or whatever. I don't mind. Don't do it with the ones you bought, though. It won't open by clicking on it. That's the strangest thing ever. All right. Maybe I just post the one from Google Drive and that's it. Okay. Because otherwise I see the only comments I will get on all this video will be like, I can't download your PDF. So I'll have a look. All right. So what else? That's it. I will see, for some reason, copy paste only works. All right, so maybe I will leave a comment as soon as this is over. I'll leave a comment, so people who come later, I'll leave a comment with another link, and I will tell them if it doesn't work to do copy paste. That's probably the smartest thing to do. All right, very well, guys. So thanks again for being here. I'll see you next week. I'll try to join you for the premiere. And if should anything happen, then I will be here, but probably not. I will be somewhere else. And eventually, one of these days, I'll reveal the big changes that are going to happen. Nothing negative is going to be great, so I'll let you guys know. And I hope you have a great week. Well, a great rest of the weekend and a great week. Play guitar, and if this has inspired you to do, to take lessons, go ahead and find a great teacher. I do online lessons. I take on a very limited amount of students though, because I just don't have the time. But there's a link, maybe even more so in the future. Anybody who's watching this, there is options, and there will be more actually coming up. All right, so guys, thanks again. I will see you very soon. If there's any song or any lick you want me to help you with, let me know, and we'll do it in one of these Q&As. All right, have a great week, and I will see you very soon. Bye bye.